You wanted it badly, you waited for it, and now you can have it. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and today I'm excited to discuss with you the reissue of an icon, the Leica M6. Like a phoenix, it was reborn out of its own ashes, and now it's ready to hit the market in only a few days from now. It has been announced today, so if, like my good self, you missed the chance to have it brand new back in the days, now it's your chance. You can have it finally. So you really wanted it badly, you waited for it, you were scouting the used market every now and then, thinking about, is it really worth it to purchase a camera that has 30 years on its shoulders, that has written already its own story, while it will be a brand new start with me. And so now you have your chance to have your brand new Leica M6 and keep it for life. Or as they want to let you think, they want you to think that you can write your own history with that camera, and I can agree. Just to be clear, the M6 is probably the most iconic Leica ever. The M4 was quite successful, and then the M5 was not, and so they created the M6, and it lasted from 1984 to 2002 when it was dismissed, and today, 20 years later, they are reissuing the same camera basically. It's basically the same camera, it's basically the same shape, the same form factor that made Leica so well known and so famous, and even my Q2, which I'm using right now to record this episode, is a copycat of that shape. Let's put it like that. It has more or less the same dimension, and even the M11 itself is, let's say it, an up-to-date version of that historic M6 classic. So what about the new reissue? The new reissue, they were right in doing it with brass material because it's also what made the history of the brand. The new reissue will have a 0.72 rangefinder magnification, which is the one that you have to go to if you tend to use 35mm or eventually even 28, even if it's not a perfect fit, but definitely for 35 and 50mm is the go-to dimension for the rangefinder. And then all the other things, they made it very, very popular, and an improved version because right now inside the light meter you will find also a dot, so not just the two arrows that were telling you if you were overexposed or underexposed, but you will also have the central LED dot that will tell you you are good, or eventually if it's blinking, it's telling you you forgot to take the lens cap off. But apart from that, what about the camera itself? I remember my good self back in the days, I could not afford it when it was launched, and therefore I had many SLRs over the years. Basically, I wanted two things in life. I wanted a camera and I wanted a motorbike, and if I went for Leica, then I couldn't afford the other one, and so I had to turn myself to Nikon and cheaper cameras, SLRs, cheaper glasses, and I made my way through Leica when I finally purchased my Leica Q2. But this is a very good chance for all of us. Since we were too young then and we didn't have enough money, ideally now, 20 years later, we could afford it. And we could afford a Nikon, we could afford shooting film. But film is not that. Just a quick consideration, because I see many youngsters willing to become video makers, and video making is an art by itself. It's just a bit different from what photography was back in the days, and I'm referring to my generation of photographers. We will probably never turn into video makers, and so I'm very happy every time that I see young people going around the city, downtown, or coming to my classes for street photography with a film camera. And this is a very good chance. Leica has to make it bold and interesting once again. And so today I'm very happy because Leica made us this valuable, very valuable gift, which is the chance to get a brand new film rangefinder M6 and keep it for life. So thank you Leica for that. Together with this M6, they reissued also a 35mm Samilux lens, which would be the perfect companion to it. But apart from the lens that you are picking up, I'm watching as we speak all the interviews, all the product launch related videos that I can find, and from all over the sources. And one was Mr. Hugh Brownstone that interviewed Mr. Andrea, global marketing head at Leica, and they really had an interesting discussion, so I suggest you go and find it out and watch it if you didn't. But apart from that, what is so good about this reissue of an M6 camera? I can still remember myself when I was using film cameras, opening the compartment, putting the film inside, and then having to get it ready, and with a limitation that was by the number of frames that you could shoot. It was 24 or 36 frames per film, per roll, and so it was a completely different world compared to nowadays, when you can have like dozens of frames shot within the same second and then eventually pick up the best one out of the series when you're back home. So we didn't have this following, tracking, autofocusing mechanism. We didn't have that much storage because the limitation was a physical limitation out of the film. And then thinking about it, in 2022, going back to that kind of life, it might seem weird, it might not be the best choice for your workflow if you are a professional, but if it is your passion and you're out there, why not picking up a Leica M6 as your very own companion? Why not testimonying? Why not witnessing your life, your family life, all the vacations, the kids growing up, all the family reunions, whatever you are doing with an M6. And all the YouTubers out there, they are right. It's a physical, tactile pleasure. The mechanism, the movements that you are dealing with, it's a tactile pleasure. It gives you pleasure because it takes you back to the days when you were a boy starting photography. And so probably it's not just the heritage of the brand, it's the heritage of your good self that comes out and arises and was reborn from the ashes, as much as the phoenix that this Leica M6 is. You know, some shots you miss them. Some shots you thought you have them, but they were not so sharply in focus. Many of them were not perfect, but the ones that you got as you intended to have them, well, they were rewarding you for all the other missed occasions and all the other missed ones. And this is how we learned. And so probably a Leica M6 in the hands of photographers of my generation will also have an emotional value added to it. So if you are the John Green or whatever photographer you are out there and you chose to shoot with film, it's okay for you. I'm really happy for you, because film is a different experience rather than shooting 200 frames per second and picking up the best ones. But if, like my good self, you're out there with a camera for the pleasure of shooting photography, then I'm quite sure the Leica M6 will take you back to the days when everything was new and when a Leica was an exciting object, not just a very expensive tool like it is nowadays. So with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on your social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new videos to come, and I guess I will see you later. Thank you. Bye.